Hey pillars, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'll be doing another bike comparison that was asked by one of you guys. So specifically, No Thank You asks me, I like a comparison between the BMC Teammachine and Giant Propel. So without further ado, let's get right into that bike comparison. So in the past, I have ridden the Teammachine and specifically have done a comparison with the Giant TCR, but they are specifically asking me to compare the BMC Teammachine. I'm assuming we're going to use the Ultegra Mechanical as the baseline standard with these comparisons in terms of value to the Giant Propel Advanced 1 disc. I'm pretty sure in 2021 model going for 4,500 USD, and the Teammachine SLR 3 is retailing for 3,800 USD. So what I can tell from the BMC website, the Teammachine SLR is pretty much their all-around race bike. That's pretty common that we're seeing now in the pro peloton, and just in general that a lot of bike manufacturers just want a bike that's aerodynamic but also well versed in terms of climbing and descending and just basically do everything. So that's basically what we're seeing with the Teammachine SLR. You can see that the frame geometry is pretty standard with the drop C stays at the back. Nothing uncommon. This looks very common within the pro peloton in terms of the most common frame geometry. I really do like this color scheme going on, black and gold. I think it looks very nice. I like the big BMC letters. And other than that, I would say it's a pretty standard race bike that we have right here, but we're going to be looking at the specs and really comparing it. So the first thing I really want to highlight is the price. For USD, it's 3,800 USD. And with that price, you can see off the bat, it doesn't come with carbon rims, but I'll get into that specifically. So one thing I find funny too is you can see the cable integration is not clean. It's going through the actual down tube of the frame, but when you scroll down, it says they're showing pictures of more expensive, Teammachines, which is unfortunate because this bike doesn't come with force E-taps. So for that reason, the cable integration that we see here is actually going through the down tube. That on this bike, on the Teammachine SLR 3, the cables go through the down tube, but since they're using an E-tap version for these pictures, you don't see the cables go through the down tube. So it's just unfortunate because, for some people, that's really important to see before you purchase. And a lot of times, the certain bike companies, you actually have to order bikes because a lot of bike shops are just out of stock or they don't have it. So for that reason, I think it's very important to not cheap out and actually take pictures of close-ups of every bike you're offering, because for a lot of people that are purchasing, that's important information, important details that we want to see. So pretty standard in terms of D-shape, integrated, more or less cockpit. Not really, they say integrated cockpit, but then again, like this isn't that integrated if you have cables everywhere. So I think it depends perhaps maybe on the model, but that's what I'm saying. It's very confusing. If I'm confused, the normal rider that's looking into getting this is probably going to be even more confused. But this is the actual bike that we're looking at. You can see that the cables are not integrated. They're going through the down tube. And other than that, we're going to be looking at the specs right now. So the frame is carbon fiber, which we would assume. The fork is carbon fiber as well. Gear ratio is 52-36 for the crank, which is a semi-compact, which you usually assume with a race bike, especially roughly at this price range. Shimano Ultegra, obviously I gotta specify that. The cassette is a Shimano Ultegra 1130, so that's pretty good. 1130 is a must-have, I would say, especially if you live near some moderate hills. A 30 is a very good gear to have as a bailout gear. Chain is Shimano Ultegra, front derailleur Ultegra. I keep saying this, but I really don't like when bike companies don't specify which version of Ultegra. Yes, I know it's a 2021 model bike, so you would assume it's the newest Ultegra, but I just think the extra layer of detail is super important. Shifters are hydraulic, so this isn't a hydraulic 11-speed bike. Brakes are Shimano Ultegra, and then the handlebars, I'm pretty sure the handlebars, the stem and are aluminum, but the C-post is carbon fiber, so that's good to see. And then it comes to the rims, which is usually very important when we look at these value bikes or just comparison bikes in general. These are DT Swiss P1850 Smile. I wish they would just put aluminum beside it. It doesn't take that much effort to put aluminum, so I had to look it up. You can see right here, if we scroll down, this is the P, same rim, and these are aluminum clinchers, so not even tubeless, guys. So that's pretty interesting to see that you're pretty much just getting 11-speed hydraulic Ultegra mechanical with aluminum rims with carbon fiber frame and fork for 3,800 USD, which doesn't scream anything like, wow, crazy deal. So unless you really love BMC, which at the end of the day, I care about value, this bike doesn't scream anything great. But in terms of ride quality, like I said, a lot of these bikes, guys, once you reach above 2,500 USD, give or take, the bike is going to perform very good. more or less, unless it's a very bad bike manufacturer, which if you guys want to see a video on my worst bikes I've ridden, totally leave a comment asking for that. So now we're going to be taking a look at the Giant Propel Advanced 1 disc that they requested, $4,500 USD. So there's a price difference of $700 when compared to the Teammachine SLR3. Both have mechanical Ultegra 11-speed hydraulic group sets. You can see the color here is pretty nice, matte black finish. Then again, I really don't like the Propel. I think it just looks chunky. I've ridden it. It's not the nicest. It reminds me kind of like a track bike. It's just, I don't like it. I like it more of an all-around bike. So in terms of frame geometry, something like the TCR or like the Teammachine in terms of just the standard geometry is way better than these specific aero bikes. And that's why you can see that Specialized went away from the Venge. Pretty much having the tarmac that does it all is a smart move if I'm being honest in terms of just, you know, ride quality, but that's my opinion. Now in terms of the specs, you're getting a carbon fiber frame, fork, giant contact, SL, so I'm pretty sure this is aluminum, handlebar stem, seat post is carbon fiber, and then Ultegra, they don't specify which level of Ultegra, but you would have to assume the newest one, and that's for the front derailleur, shifters, rear derailleur, brakes. You have a 168, 148 millimeter rotors on the front and rear, 11-speed, 1130, so same gear ratio on the cassette, and 5236 semi-compact Shimano Ultegra crankset. So basically exact same specs for gear ratios, which is great to see. So you can see that there's a 42 millimeter front rim and a 65 rear rim on the back, and that's just for aerodynamic purposes. Now in terms of the rims that Giant provide, I had a terrible experience getting a warranty claim on my aluminum rims that ended up breaking 2 spokes. They wouldn't even give me the warranty. So anytime someone asks me to make a Giant comparison video, I'm going to talk about my terrible experience that I had with Giant. I made a full video on my channel, so feel free to check it out. I won't rant on here, but I had the worst experience with their warranty. So I always like to say that now going forward, whether it's rims, the frame, the bike, it just scares me when I talk about Giant, because if I had a bad experience and I literally make videos talking about Giant bikes, I can just imagine the headache that a normal customer might experience if they have a warranty claim. So just crazy. In terms of the tire, 725, but these are tubeless ready, whereas the 2021 Teammachine SLR3 is not tubeless ready. It's just a normal clincher. So for a difference of $700, you're basically getting carbon fiber rims with tubeless ready. So that's pretty nice. And that basically is the biggest, I would say the biggest difference between the Teammachine SLR3 and the Propel Advanced 1 disc. So in terms of no thank you asking me to compare, I would probably have to give, see, it's a hard one because this bike doesn't come with a power meter. The Propel Advanced 1 disc doesn't come with a power meter. So that $700 is basically the value of the carbon fiber rims. So in terms of value, if you are thinking of upgrading your rims, then the Propel Advanced 1 disc would be the better value. But in terms of geometry, like in my opinion, I just find that a geometry like the Teammachine is just probably going to be better if you do long rides or long road races, or you just want a more versatile bike. I think the Teammachine, just based on geometry, is going to be a lot more comfortable and a lot more versatile than the very, you know, like aerodynamic specific focus. I would say more short, you know, racy bike. Not to say that there's not riders that, you know, obviously race on the Propel for long distances. I'm just saying for the normal person, I usually like to promote a bike that's a more all-around geometry rather than specifically aerodynamics. And if you're not really looking for carbon rims, you're not looking specifically to race, you can save that $700 and actually get a single-sided power meter, and you'd still have left over, you know, $500 give or take, and you'd have the BMC Teammachine SLR3 with aluminum rims, which isn't the end of the world. So the Propel Advanced 1 disc, with a power meter, then I can see maybe the value. You're getting carbon fiber rims and a power meter, but with no power meter, I don't think it's worth an extra $700 just based on the aerodynamic benefits of the frame. And also, if you don't really need carbon rims, I don't think it's necessary in terms of that perspective. But now it gets into the interesting part, and this is why I wanted to show no thank you, because he did like the Orbea that I showed. So we're gonna look at Orbea. I just found them recently, so it's very interesting. So the Orbea has an Orca M30, and you can see if you look at the geometry, like I said, the drop seat stays are very common. You can see, yes, it's slightly different than the BMC, just like the tarmac is, but these bikes all have very similar inspired geometries from one another. And this one is retailing for $2,900 USD. In terms of the frame, it has a carbon fiber frame, but then the fork is carbon fiber, but with an aluminum steerer. So that's the difference. The crankset is an Ultegra 5034, so compact. On the rear cassette, it's 11 speed, 1130, and then basically has all Shimano Ultegra hydraulic R8000 componentry with aluminum rims. But the thing that I find with this bike, and I think that's where the difference is in price when I show you the different Orbeas, is you can see these are just like basic stock Orbea rims, nothing super nice or like high quality, and that makes a big difference for ride quality. I'm not gonna lie and pretend, you know, every aluminum rim is the exact same. It does make a difference, and you know, that's, I think, the one thing I'm trying to learn with Orbea is how they, you know, price their bikes and value their bikes. So on this, you can't customize, you can't do anything, but it's $2,900, which I still think is a great price, because if you think about it, the Teammachine is $3,800 and the Orbea is, you know, $2,900. So the price difference right there is almost like $1,000, give or take. So, you know, this bike could totally perform, especially if you're not looking for super nice rims or like decent aluminum rims. Maybe if you have rims laying around and you just need a frame and the Ultegra group set, this is a good option. So now this part is really interesting as well, because we have the Orbea Orca M20 Team Edition, and this comes in different colors as well, so you can see the different colors. I usually go for the classic black, and this is cool because Orbea actually lets you customize your bike, so that's really nice to see. But basically, you get carbon fiber frame. I'm pretty sure the fork is full carbon. I could be wrong, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's full carbon. And then you have all Shimano Ultegra, and then the crankset is a 5034, so compact, 11 speed, 1128. And then the rims are Fulcrum Racing aluminum rims, so I have them right here. If we look at clincher and tubeless ready, so it's compatible for both. And right here, we can see that's aluminum rim. So it's not carbon fiber. So I think right here, you're basically paying from the upgrade from the old Orca M20 for the Team Edition, I guess. You're paying for a better rim set, which I think goes a long ways. If you're looking for a very decent rim, or a good aluminum rim, you know, it is expensive. I'm not gonna lie here and say a lot of stock rims are super nice. That's not the case. Usually you have to upgrade to either carbon or aluminum rims to get a better, you know, performance in terms of durability, ride quality, yada, yada, yada. But the one thing that I find super interesting, guys, is that this is still cheaper than the Teammachine SLR3. This is $3,500 USD, and the Teammachine's $3,800 USD. So this is what leads me to my last point. For an extra $200 USD, you can get the Orca by Orbea, the Orca M25 Team Edition bike, which I think is crazy because you can see carbon rims right off the start. So it's basically the exact same bike, but just with carbon rims. So if we look down, carbon frame, fork, 5034, crankset, you have internal cable routing, so you can see all these cockpits too, guys, I forgot to mention, are very clean looking. You can see the cables, obviously you can see the cables are exposed here, but as soon as we go to this one, the stem that they use is a lot nicer. And if we look at this Orbea, you can see the stem's obviously nicer as well. I think it's the exact same stem from the last one. And then everything else is Ultegra R8000, 11 speed, 1128 on the rear. And then this is where it gets interesting. These are Vision 40 SC disc carbon rims, which if you know anything about Vision, they make really good carbon products, obviously handlebars and obviously rims as well. But other than that, C-Post carbon, like, this is a great value. And this is what leads me into the next point, is that, you know, this is still cheaper than even the Propel Advanced 1 disc, which I think is amazing. But one thing I love about the Orbea is you can actually customize the bike, and I was blown away. I was like, okay, this has to be too good to be true. So if you look at the Orbea, basically everything you can change colors. So if you like matte finish or a gloss finish, you can go back and forth. Let's say you like gloss, you can change like individual colors, which I think is crazy. Like, the customizability is very nice to see, and the price doesn't go up for this customizability. And I'm assuming that they have a factory or whoever manufactures their frames, you know, they send it out, you pay for it, they send it out, they manufacture it. Like, it's a different process perhaps, which is really nice to see. And the one thing I like too with bike companies that offer customizability is that I'll show you guys right here, that's still kind of crazy if we're comparing it to the Propel Advanced 1 disc, like the subscriber asked, is you can actually see for the crankset, we can upgrade it to an FSA Powerbox Alloy 5034 crankset. And I was like, wait, what is that? And I was assuming by the price, okay, $489. Let's see what that is. So I looked it up, and it's a power meter. I was like, what? Like, they offer power upgrade, and then you can also get the carbon one, but that's $1,000. For a power meter upgrade, the price is still $44.88, which is still cheaper than the Propel Advanced 1 disc, which I think is crazy. And you can still upgrade other things such as the handlebar, front wheel axle. It's just small upgrades that if you guys really want, you guys can upgrade, I guess. You can actually have text color. That is so cool. So you actually give it a name or give your bike a name or something, and then you're basically done. So I think that's crazy. So in terms of value, guys, the whole point of this video, and I appreciate thank you for giving me this bike comparison. So I suggest you guys leave some more bike comparisons in the comment section down below. But one thing I just want to note is that the Teammachine SLR versus the Propel Advanced 1 disc, I think in terms of value, you'd be more than fine with the Teammachine SLR 3. I like the geometry more. I think the value is there, unless you really want a more aerodynamic bike for crit racing or just shorter group rides or just short road races, and you want carbon fiber rims. That technically, yeah, the Propel is a better value, but that's why I find this comparison interesting, and I always welcome interesting comparisons, is that I think an all-around race bike is way better than a dedicated aero bike. But then the one thing I just find funny now is that even when I compare Giant now, knowing that Orbea exists, I'm almost going to have to highlight that at the end of these videos. So obviously, if you guys just want to know the beginning, the comparisons, I'll do those as quick as I can. So 2 bikes, compare them. But then I'll always bring up now Orbea or the next company that has a better value, because I thought Giant had the best value, but it seems like Orbea is crushing it in terms of value and customizability and all that stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited to keep doing these comparisons. So keep sending them. I backdated some comparisons, found them, so I'm going to be giving those comparisons very soon. So stay tuned. But if you guys want to see a bike comparison, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. If I don't get to it, comment again. And until the next one, keep on pedaling.